Okay, so today we're going to be doing solving equations and graphing. And we are, like we did before, we are going to solve for y for our slope-intercept form. And then we're going to be graphing our equation. Okay, again, remember it's y equals mx plus b. So once we solve for y, we want to put it in that order, okay? Okay, so first of all, we want to get y all by itself. So we can see right here, this y, there's a -1 there, and there's also a negative in front of the y. So let's first of all, let's get rid of, so we want the y by itself, okay? So let's get rid of this extra, what we would probably call acquaintance in the other story, but we're gonna add 1 to both sides. So now I have 2x, so that cancels, plus 1. Now remember, don't add that to that. This is apples and this is oranges, so don't add that to that. So now we have 2x plus 1 and then equals -y. Okay, we know that we can't have a negative variable. So to get rid of the negative, we are going to divide our negative across the board or just divide by -1 across the board, which means whatever you do to one, you need to do to the other. So make sure you do that. Okay, so that cancels our negatives. And then 1 divided by -1 makes it -1. And 1 divided by the -1 divided by 2x makes that -2x. Okay, or it could be 2 over -1, which is still -2x. Okay, now let's go ahead and put it in this order. So our y equals, do our slope and our x first. So -2 is our slope, x, and then our b is our -1, minus 1. So that's in the order that you would want to have it. So that way you can graph it. Okay, again, remember this is our slope. And this is the b, which stands for our y-intercept, or I like to call it the beginning point on the y. The beginning point on the y. So we have a -1. So that's our beginning point on the y. Now we know that it's a negative slope. So this is what it will look like. It's going to be negative. So that means we're going to go up and to the left and down and to the right. So we're going to go up 2, and then remember we can have our slope as 1, right? So 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Okay, so that is what, and then get yourself a little ruler or something you can draw with and make yourself a slope. Okay, so now my equation and my slope match. Okay, so this is -2x minus 1. Okay, let's do another one. Let's look at number 2 here. So first of all, again, we need to get the y by itself. Well, the y is not by itself. There's a 4 by it, so we need to get rid of the 4. Okay, when they're close like this, right? It's like you and your best friend. How's your best friend go home? Your best friend always goes home by division, but the inverse operation of multiply is divide, because when a 4 and the y is next to each other, that is multiply. So we need to divide by 4, okay? So if we divide by 4 here, we need to divide by 4 here, and we need to divide by 4 here. So remember, whatever you do to one, you got to do to the others, okay? Let me see if I can zoom that in better. Sorry about that. Hopefully that is in focus too. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so now we have y, and then what's 8 divided by 4? That is 2. And then we have -2 over 4, which is, we need to simplify it. So 2 goes into 2 and 2 goes into 4 2 times. So that is 1/2. And then don't forget our x. So now we have 2 and -1/2 x. So all I did was simplify that and then bring it down. Okay, now let's put it in our slope-intercept form equation. And then because this is a +2, we're going to make that a +2. Okay, now let's go ahead and put it into our graph again. This is slope, and this is B, where we're going to begin on our y-intercept. Okay, it's our y-intercept, our beginning point on our y. Okay, so we know it's a positive 2 right here. And this one also is a negative slope, okay? So we're going to go up and to the left or down and to the right, okay? So we're going to go up 1 and then we're going to run 2. 1, 2. Up 1, run 2. Up 1, run 2. Up 1, run 2. Okay, then come back to our beginning point. Down 1, run 2. Down 1, run 2. Down 1, run 2. Down 1, run 2. Okay, so this is what our slope looks like on a graph using that equation. And you guys know that slope, right? We will just do rise over run. Okay, so that is, the 1 is our rise and the 2 is our run. Okay, let's do number 3 really fast. Again, we need to get the y all by itself. So what's by the y? The plus 4 or the minus 4x. So we need to do an inverse operation to get rid of it. So we're going to add 4x here, and then we're going to add 4x over here. That cancels. Remember, don't add those together. These are apples and oranges. So now I have 4x minus 1. I'm just bringing it down, equals y. So that one is a simpler equation. All we need to do now is just put it into our slope-intercept form. Okay, because we have our slope, our x, and then our b, okay? Okay, so now we have, now we just need to graph it. Okay, so again, this is our slope, this is our b, where we start on our y-intercept. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that down on this one. That's a -1 right there. Again, this will be 4 over 1. This time our slope is positive because there's no negative in front of it. So it's a positive. So now we're going to go up and to the right and down and to the left. So we're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Come back to your beginning point, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And then we can't go any further down that way. So that is what our slope looks like. Okay. Okay. Let's just do one more. Let's do this number 4. And what you notice here is that there's not a y. So if there's not a y, then we need to solve for x. So we just need to work to get those variables by itself. So if there's no y, we want to solve for y because of slope-intercept form. But if there's no y in the equation, then we want to solve for x. So we got to get this x by itself. Again, we have a 2 by the x and we have a subtract 8. So we need to get rid of this extra acquaintance or this extra number here. So we are going to opposite or inverse operation of -8 is, or subtract 8 is add 8. So we're going to add 8 here and we're going to add 8 here. Well, these are both whole numbers. So 0 plus 8 is 8 equals 2x. Okay, so now we're still trying to get x by itself. So we need to divide by 2 on both sides. This cancels. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 4 equals x, or x equals 4. Again, remember we need to find the 4 on the x. So our x does go this way. So let's find the 4 on the x. But remember, we need to intercept it. Okay, according to slope dude, it's undefined or no slope. So we need to intercept it, which means to go through it. Okay, so we are going to be up and down. We're going to be an undefined right there. Okay. Okay, so then if you have any questions about this, just go ahead and ask your teacher. We're just going to solve the rest by solving for